LIVEcast, LIVEcast, welcome to the LIVEcast, 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 welcome to the show. LIVEcast, LIVEcast, welcome to the LIVEcast, 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 welcome to the show.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to this week's LIVEcast. It's good to have you back. I was going to say with us, not really with us, with me. If you've been following the Speak Life Facebook page, you'll have seen that Glen is off speaking at the moment at University Carol Services. And you might have seen the video that was posted last night of his talk from Sunday night that he gave at Southampton University. And last night he was actually up in Durham speaking there at their week, well not their week, their Carol service. And today I believe he's going to be speaking at Warwick University. So thank you for those who've been praying for him. Do continue to pray for him. These University Carol Services are a great opportunity where hundreds of students are going to come through the doors who may never step into church or Christian Union or anything like that. So it is a great opportunity. Now, speaking of great opportunities, we thought today, I keep saying we, it's the royal we, we're all in this together. I thought what we'd do is we would have a look at some Christmas videos. Christmas is a great opportunity in churches. Now, some of you guys are going to work in churches. Some of you are just going to be members of churches. You might be youth workers and have different roles you might be serving. And when I was a youth worker and I was working in church, every Christmas would roll round and there'd be this kind of moment where I think, well, I've got some Christmas assemblies at the secondary school, or we've got an informal carol service as well as traditional. And what are we going to do? It'd be great to have a resource, a video we could use. So I thought what I'd do is I'd chat a little bit about some of the resources we've got, as well as a couple of other videos that I've used over the years that I thought maybe might be useful for you. And you can use them in whatever context, your youth group or in a service, if you think that might work for you. And if it's helpful, it's helpful. If it's not, you don't need to worry about it. You can use some other bits. So hopefully you've already seen our video that's out this year, our Christmas video, On Earth as in Heaven, that remembers the kind of 50th anniversary of the first ever Earthrise, where Earth was seen to kind of rise for the first time from space. And we think about this idea of how man going to the moon is an amazing thing, but God coming to the earth is an even more amazing thing. So we're going to have a little clip from that, and then we'll come back in a moment.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
It's one of history's most famous lines, but it wasn't what he'd planned to say. Whether the sound cut out or he forgot, Armstrong was meant to say that's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. But one small step for man has a deeper resonance to it. As Armstrong walked on the moon, we all did. He was our representative. That was the message of the plaque they left on the moon's surface.
For those who haven't read the plaque, we'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LIM. Dear men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind.
I can't help thinking of that on Christmas. The angel said, peace, goodwill to all men. 50 years ago, men went up in space in peace. 2,000 years ago, God came down to earth in peace. That's Christmas.
So that could be a really good one to use this year. Hopefully you might be able to find use for it. And I've often used a lot of these kind of videos as a stepping stone into a preach, rather than a standalone thing. Now there's a 13-minute version of that, but you can download it in 2 halves, which are about 6 minutes each, and there's a nice break in it. So it will work really well in a carol service to have a chunk at one point and a chunk at another point later. So it's probably a little bit too long for use in an assembly or something like that. But maybe you could use the 90-second trailer in an assembly if you were doing that, and then you could use it to talk a bit more about some of the things that come up in the video. So that's a really good one. Now, some of you guys might remember Meet the Nativity from last year. Actually, there have been quite a lot of you who will have joined us here on Facebook through Meet the Nativity. We kind of jumped up quite a lot through that period. So you might remember that. You might not remember some of our previous videos, so we'll look at them in a moment. Meet the Nativity, it is available as a supercut of kind of 20 minutes long. But actually, I think that the best way to use it is probably in the 4 episodes that it was released as, where it looks at one character each week. If you've not seen any of it, let's have a quick look at that now.
I know how it sounds. I do. But just go inside.
What? In there?
Yeah.
Why?
Please. Just trust me.
Okay. Hello.
Hi. Sorry, I think I'm in the wrong...
Have a seat.
Right.
How's your Christmas going? It's okay.
Hello.
Actually, I got a present I wasn't quite expecting.
Presents are like that.
Yeah, no, but this one really wasn't what I was expecting or planning.
We make our plans. But in the end, life is what we're given.
That sounds terrifying.
It is.
Can I? We're having a baby.
So that was a clip from the second episode there, which focuses on Claire. There are kind of 4 characters that we meet through Meet the Nativity. We've got Will, we've got Claire, Ruth, and Ken. We've kind of got, this, Will's this kind of fish out of water character going home with his girlfriend to meet her parents the first time at Christmas, and he's desperate to fit in. And then there's Claire, who's this kind of very capable young woman, and her plans kind of for life are suddenly thrown into disarray when she discovers she's pregnant. And then we've got Ruth, for whom life seems to be tough, and Christmas in particular is hard, although we never quite know why. And then we've got Ken, who's kind of this, deeply unimpressed figure through a lot of it, kind of quite cold, closed book. But we do get to cut through his kind of outer shell as the story goes on. And I used this last year in an informal carol service that we do. It was kind of an alternative 9 lessons, so we did have scripture, obviously, but actually through the service we had an episode and a couple of songs, an episode, a song episode, that kind of thing. And then I got up and spoke on it and preached on it. And if you want ideas for how you could use it to preach, if you go to our YouTube channel, Speak Life UK, and find the Meet the Nativity playlist, not only will you find the episodes, you'll also find Glen's little explainer videos for each. So that will give you some ideas of how you might speak about each person. And I think the way I kind of structured my talk was that I spoke a bit about each person, what they were like and who they were. And, I said, and I'm sure we can identify, maybe some people could identify with one person, others could identify with more than one or bits of everybody. And then I just kind of spoke about how they each met with Jesus and the difference that made for them. And so there's some really good ways in there, and actually had lots of positive responses afterwards from people. Christians were saying they'd come with friends and the videos had spoken to their friends. They're very subtle, the videos. They probably do need explaining. It's not an in-your-face kind of gospel presentation in the way perhaps some people would have liked or might have been expecting. But actually, I think it's its subtlety that really works. So do have a look at Meet the Nativity and think about using that this Christmas time. Let me see, what was the next one we had come up then? So we've had Meet the Nativity, and I've lost where I am. Beauty of being live. So I think working backwards here. So the previous year to that, we had the video Love Came Down, and you might have seen some of these before, clips from this. I think we've used them in our discussions in a couple of live casts before. If you've not seen it, let's have a look at a clip from Love Came Down. It's a brilliant little clip.
So gathered around that wee baby boy, all people are welcome to know heaven's joy. From angels to donkeys, from shepherds to king, the little Lord Jesus, God's welcome he bring. He came to our darkness from heaven above. He stooped to the crib and the cross out of love. He shared in our weakness and mess, and still he embraced us nevertheless. If you're feeling rejected, excluded, a stranger, remember the one who came down to the manger.
So that's the clip from Love Came Down. As you can probably see, it's the nativity, and the whole nativity is acted out by children with Down syndrome, and you can see the parents there and the families, and it really is just a beautiful little video. It's actually narrated by a lady who I know. Her family, like her parents and her brothers and sisters and nephews and nieces, actually go to my church, and their kids, kind of nephews and nieces, are in the youth group and stuff. I know the parents quite well and know them all quite well. So Debbie, who narrates that, has Down syndrome herself, and just wonderfully done. And there's so many, such a great video to be able to use at Christmas time. You could preach off it, or you could just show it as part of a carol service. I think we have something where I am. We have a school near to us, a special needs school, and they have their carol service in our church every year. And it's always, without a doubt, my favourite carol service every year it was that I used to go to, because it was so full of energy and life, and it was complete chaos and mayhem, but it was beautiful and absolutely wonderful, lots of fun. And I used this video, I'm pretty sure I used this video maybe the year before last. Well, it must have, I wasn't there last year, so it must have been in my final year when that video was out. And here all these families here with children, and some of those children have Down syndrome, some of them have varying disabilities from for very severe things through to kind of less severe, but all with these kind of experiences. And this, I guess, that video just speaks so beautifully into their lives and their experience. But also, I think it works with for people who've not got people in their family with disabilities, or haven't kind of had experience of that. I think it works as a standalone piece as well. So really lovely piece of video you can use there. Now, the next one, which I think is a good one for you, another good resource, is 4 Kinds of Christmas, which I think is the previous year again from Speak Life. And, well, let's have a quick look at that now. Dear me. And you can see what is going on there.
Every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. I like the darkness. At least it's cheap. I keep adjusted to the gloom, the creeping doom that soon consumes the earth in tombs. I hum its tune, assume its tone, and make my home right here, in the only world we know, this world of woe. Let others throw their festive flings. I think I'll keep my 5 gold rings. 4 cooling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves. She loves the doves. Yeah, shove it on the card above. No, never fear, my dear, I'll pay it all next year. For now we'll drink to Christmas cheer and deck the halls with tinsel bling. Forget what our tomorrows bring. We'll raise a glass of festive sherry, eat and drink and be quite merry.
Merry Christmas, everyone! And what's your wish from me, my son?
A hamper full of festive fun, with snowdrops, rainbows, furry mittens, unicorns and mewling kittens.
Santa's sleigh may bring them near, but were you good for me this year?
Why, yes, I think. I didn't sink as low as some I know. Although, hey, no, Father Christmas, mind your own business. The kids might believe, but they are naive. I know for certain. I see through the curtain. But when you strip it all bare, what exactly is there?
So there's 4 Kinds of Christmas, a brief clip of it, at least. And it's a kind of one-shot video that takes you through these different, the 4 different types of Christmas you could be. Are you, let me think, are you the shopper? Are you Santa? Are you Scrooge? Or are you the stable? And actually you can still, even now, even though this is a few years old, maybe 2015 perhaps, you can still go to 4kindsofchristmas.com, where there is the test you can take to find out, you answer the questions. Are you, what kind of Christmas are you? Shopper, Santa, Scrooge, stable. And again, just a really good way into a Christmas talk. Short, works in an assembly, and you've got these 4 areas you can speak about. And there is the book. There is the 4 Kinds of Christmas book. I'm not sure if you can still pack that up off the website. Get the book, it says here. Let's hope that you can. We can probably get you hold of some copies. Yes, you can get hold of copies. Yep, absolutely. 10 of those. Can grab you some copies there. So do get hold of them, and the price goes down per copy. So actually, if you get over 100, it's only £1 for each copy. It's a great kind of thing you could give out to people for free at your services for them to take away. So they can go to, point them to the website, and they can actually read a bit there and see the video again. But why not get the book and get it into their hands? And actually, that's going to be a really good one. So another one I used another year, I think I used this in the school assembly, is again another previous Speak Life one, which is Christmas in Dark Places, which is a really good one. So let's have a clip from that.
Our summer's gone now. If you've been around, you've felt the fall, life's run aground. We've gone up in the world, seen the light die. So what's our hope? The dark defy? Stoke the hearth, retreat indoors, rug up warm with you and yours? The shadow reaches even here, but this is the place for Christmas cheer. It's dark in the Bible when Christmas is spoken, always a bolt from the blue for the broken. It's the valley of shadows, the land of the dead. It's no place in the inn, so he stoops to the shed. He's born to the shameful. He bends to the weak, he becomes the lowly, the God who can't speak, and yet, what a word, this Saviour who comes, our dismal, abysmal depths he plumbs. Through crib and then cross, to compass our life, to carry and conquer our brother in strife. He became what we are, our failures he shouldered, to bring us to his life, forever enfolded. He took on our frailty, he took on all comers, to turn all our winters to glorious summers. It's Christmas now, whatever the weather. Some soak in the sun, some huddle together. But fair days or foul, our plight he embraces. Real Christmas shines in the darkest of places.
So that was Christmas in Dark Places. You can download that one as well. And I used this in a school assembly, I think back in 2014. So it's a good one for that. And I think what I said was, you're expecting the classic Christian assembly, aren't you? You're saying to these teenagers who you're trying to warm up a bit on a Monday morning or whatever it is, you're expecting me to come in and say, Christmas is really about, the Christmas story and all that, and actually put away your mince pies and all those things. And actually, I kind of said, you know what, there are lots of people for whom Christmas won't be a big party. It won't be fun, and Geldof can say all he likes, it's Christmas time, there's no need to be afraid. But for a lot of people, it is a time to be afraid. It talks on the video about how many people are still in slavery, how many people are still on the streets, children and homeless. And for people, it will be a very difficult time. Will they be able to pay their bills? There'll be people who are sick, people who've lost people for whom it's a very hard time. Those for whom, they're wondering how drunk is Dad going to get this Christmas. And so Christmas is a dark time. It's not, even if you're not a Christian, it may not be that Christmas is just one big party for you. it can be very hard. And actually here is a video that speaks about light shining in the darkness, you know, those passages from Isaiah. What a great way to speak into Christmas. And you know, maybe you've got a service which I feel you could easily use that perhaps in your traditional, a traditional kind of carol service. The tone of it would fit very well. Whereas, you know, maybe a slightly more bouncy one wouldn't quite work as well. But I think that would, and I think it speaks to a lot of people, because even if you're in a very kind of nice middle class area as I am, of course there's a lot of stuff beneath the surface that people don't show, and you don't really know whether Christmas really, what Christmas is like for them. And so the idea of saying, look, Christmas can be hard, can't it? But there's a light in the darkness. I think there's something good in there that you can speak of, and we can use to speak very clearly of Jesus. And so then that's Dark Places, and the other one I've used is for years I just used Glen's material. Every end of November I'd be sitting there waiting for this video to come out, going, give me something I can use in my work, please. I need something. So this one's Anti-Santy Ranty. I think this was the very first one he did, the very first Christmas one. So you have a look at this.
They say there's a big man who lives far away, supposedly jolly, but it's hard to say. I've never seen him, and neither have you. But the children believe, and I suppose that'll do. He's known as a loner with many a quirk. No time for a chat, he's embroiled in his work. He keeps to himself for most of the year. I reckon we're grateful he doesn't appear. We send him requests for particular needs, but we never hear back. Who knows if he heeds? We try to be good, give his arm a twist, to merit our place on his blessed little list. And maybe one day, if we do what we should, he'll give us our things just so long as we're good. See, I've had it to here. I'm calling his bluff. He's a weird, moralistic dispenser of stuff! Granted, this rant is a strange one to pick. But listen, I'm not really after St. Nick. Strange as he is, and Santa is odd. In fact, I'm attacking most folks' view of God.
So that's Anti-Santy Ranty. You've maybe seen kind of things like that before, variations on the idea. Yeah, I used this one in a school assembly a number of years ago as well, and kind of I used it as the opening video, and actually said, you know, is that what God is like? Is God just like Santa? Is Jesus just like Santa? And I said, I think the Christmas story kind of dismantles that. You know, it shows us something else. And I think used Philippians 2 to speak about, you know, he made himself a servant, and how actually we see at Christmas the God who steps down into our depths, into our story, who pours himself out for us and joins us. And a very different thing to the image of this Santa who's just kind of keeping a record of right and wrong and things like that. And I think, you know, the image used was of, you know, you're at home and there's a knock on the door and it's the Queen, and she says, you know, don't get up, and she comes in and starts cleaning up the house for you. You know, this image of someone who's on high who comes down, but actually Jesus comes from far higher than that and stoops right down. So that might be a kind of way into speaking again at Christmas. Again, it's a short video, so it works for an assembly or something like that. Now, so those are kind of all the Speak Life ones. There's a couple I just want to touch upon, some more less seriously than others. This one I think it's by. If you go to Vimeo, or Vimeo, don't know, you can find it on there by searching Trinity Cheltenham. I think I searched Christmas Trinity and it popped up. And it's just called Christmas Episode 1, Christmas Episode 2. And it's just a little hilarious retelling of the Christmas story, which eventually, in its second part, kind of goes, hold on a second, this isn't right, what's going on here? And you get a nice bit of something to end on, and again, something you can speak on. Let's have a look at the clip. I think these are just a really well done little animation and telling the story.
So there was this girl named Mary who lived in a sleepy little town called Nazareth, in a bit of Israel called Galilee, where nothing that exciting had happened for quite a long while. And one day, Mary was quietly getting on with her day when suddenly, BAM! An angel from the Lord appeared to her and was like, Hail, thou that art highly favoured, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou amongst women. And Mary, who was completely freaking out by this point, was all like,
I'm sorry, I literally have no idea what you're saying. What kind of greeting is that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I just like trying to lend a sense of occasion to these sorts of things. What I was trying to say was good morning. You're beautiful with God's beauty. Beautiful inside and out. God be with you.
Well, that's really nice of you. You're not so bad yourself, but I don't understand.
Mary, it's okay. Stop freaking out. You found favour with God. You're going to conceive and give birth to a son, and you're to call him Jesus. He's going to be amazing, and he'll be called the Son of the Most High.
I thought you said he'd be called Jesus.
Yes, it's a nickname. He'll have loads of those. Anyways, the Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and his kingdom will never end.
But how will this happen? I'm still a virgin.
Ah, that's not a problem at all. The Holy Spirit will come to you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God.
Okay. Stop freaking out, Mary. It's okay. Calm down. You're going to give birth to the Son of God. It's fine. It's not been an average Monday morning so far, granted. But stop freaking out, Mary. Okay, I'm the Lord's servant. May it happen just as you have said.
So Mary becoming pregnant was kind of awkward because she was already engaged to this really great guy called Joseph, who was a carpenter.
Hi, Joseph.
Hey babe, how are you doing? Look at this thing I carpented today. It's a computer desk. I've no idea what it's for yet, or even what a computer is, but I think it's just great.
Joseph, there's something I need to tell you.
What is it, babe?
I'm pregnant.
Oh, you again? Look, I thought I told you, no drumming in my shop. Sorry, Joseph. Mary, who's the father?
It's sort of a long story.
So that was part of Christmas episode 1. You can get the whole thing. We'll put some links somewhere for you to find. Well, actually, so there you go. If you want the links for all these videos, get over to speaklife.org.uk/sign up and sign up for our email list, because you will get this every Friday. You'll get whatever resources we've talked about or used in the week. We'll send them to you on a Friday morning, so that you don't miss anything. They get collected together. So get over and sign up. If you're on Facebook page, there is a sign up button which will take you to the email sign up. So miss nothing. It also gives you prayer points for things you could be praying about for us that are coming up. But that was part of Christmas episode 1. And as you can see, it's a complete laugh. That one's I think they're about 6 minutes long each, or 6 and 4, I think, the 2 parts. So too long for an assembly, probably. But again, could be used in the service, and that's where I first saw someone else use them, and they went down really, really well. Obviously, lots of fun. I mean, the second part starts off, kind of like previously on Christmas, and you've got, bits of the Death Star exploding and stuff. So it's a complete send-up in many ways, but then it kind of comes good. If you're sitting there going, what's happening? Where's this going? It does come good. So watch episode 2 to find out. And then this one, I say this very much with my tongue in my cheek. I did use this in an assembly a number of years ago. I think probably this one, we're now too far from the event, from the movie, for it to be of huge use. It's actually a spoof. I think it says Mad TV, where they've spoofed Terminator 2. And they've used it through the life of Jesus. It's not just the nativity, it goes through the life of Jesus. And I'll show you just the brief clip from the beginning section around the Christmas story. Let's have a look.
Unto this world a child is born.
Enjoying the night air, my brother? Your robes, give them to me.
I come bearing many gifts, but I assure you my robes are not among them.
What are you? Some kind of wise guy?
Well, actually, yes.
He's back. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator in the greatest action story ever told.
Hasta la vista, baby Jesus.
So, you know, obviously kind of tongue-in-cheek. Probably now we're getting too far away. What are we now? Was it 1991 was Terminator 2? And now we're in 2018, almost 19. So we're quite a long way away. So maybe not so much use. But, you know, as a big fan of the Terminator 2 film, I've always enjoyed that one. But actually, it does go on. You could use it if you wanted to. It goes on right up to the crucifixion. And basically, the misunderstanding is that the Terminator is there, has been sent to protect Jesus and stop him from dying. And he's doing all he can to protect him from that. And of course, the stepping stone I used was that, you know, actually Jesus came to die. You know, that is why this, you know, he came anyway. So it's a misunderstanding. And so uses a bit of a stepping stone, tongue in cheek. You know, so, you know, maybe you can still get some use out of it. Maybe so. Maybe you think your context it would work in, but maybe on a larger scale, perhaps not so much. There are loads of other great Christmas videos out there. I think I've got a link I was sent of which has got kind of 28 or so other videos. So we'll try and pop that down in the comments and for you to find if you're picking this up on the podcast or later. Hopefully those will be useful to you. Hopefully you'll be able to find those and use them, and there'll be at least one in there that's right for your context, or one out of that other list, which would be good. And I just want to encourage you to use stuff like this over the Christmas period. You know, hopefully it makes your life easier, maybe as a minister or someone in church, because it is difficult year on year to kind of think, how do I make this fresh? The story is always relevant, but there's a sense in which people tend to think, well, I've heard this before. And you get, well, how do we engage them? And these things can be really helpful in doing that, I think. And I don't know about you, but I know in my church, you know, we'll have a Chris Dingle service, or 3 Chris Dingle services on the Christmas Eve. And on that day alone, we'll see over 1,000 people come through the doors. You know, some are church family, but there are lots of outsiders. And then we've got our traditional carol services and lots of other services actually going on. And it's such an amazing opportunity. We don't want to miss this opportunity at Christmas time. So, you know, we've still got a few weeks. Let's be on the ball with it. And, you know, maybe you've only got one carol service. That's fine. That's great. But I imagine you get lots of outsiders turn up. Or Christmas Day, maybe you do, or whatever, midnight Christmas, you know, kind of service. Don't miss the opportunities. Great. Hopefully next week we'll be back to normal. Normal service shall resume, and Glen will be back. I'm sure we'll get a bit of feedback on how his time up in Southampton and Durham and Warwick has gone. Like I say, he's in Warwick tonight, so please pray for him. And we'll see you next week. Thanks very much for joining us. Bye.